episode 29 of the Tonie and
Tonie Show.
woohoo!
19. How did we get to 29, Tony? Nobody will ever know.
Well,
We'll be able to explain it properly.
no, so there was like this adventure in 28, but now we're back in our regular home studio.
Yes, well, 28 was in like makeup, studio, camera action.
What? You got makeup? I didn't get any makeup. What?
You don't need it, mate. Do you know what I mean? It's
Thanks.
just like they went. There's nothing we can do here, Tony, mate. It's perfect.
Yeah, thanks. You're too sweet. You're just too sweet, Tony.
I know.
So before we kick off, is it okay that I do a little bit of advertisement in this show, or is that not allowed?
Make it quick, so you don't bore the listeners.
So we have the sequel.nl. You know it. You were there to volunteer.
I was there. I went. It's an excellent event on a small coastal town in the Netherlands,
and it's back. 2026. Yes. It's going to be back. So April 17 and 18, we will be back. So Cover Speaker will open soon, I guess. But this is the save the date already.
Yeah, if you want to go to a really good community event, great content in a lovely place, good food, I couldn't recommend it more.
I can't promise the weather, but here you go.
We were lucky last year, so let's see.
What I do can promise is that I have a special article, or we have a special article by the famous author, Phil
Factor.
We really should get a jingle for him. I mean,
I know.
Yeah, I know. Or get him on the show sometimes.
Yes, I would say this is a reasonably straightforward article from our Phil, and it's about managing credentials using Flyway resolvers. And its simple premise is really that as you know, for a simple one database project, put your credentials in a TOML file, one of Flyway's configuration files, and it will grab them from there and use them. But as you scale up the project to multiple environments, a lot of developers, and especially when you start using sensitive data for live, if you're using live data for testing, you need a much more secure way of doing it. And resolvers is a good option.
Interesting. Yeah, well, because the screen now shows Flyway TOML and the Flyway user TOML. So whenever you put credentials in the first time, there is this checkbox that you say save it in the project file, which isn't a good idea.
No, don't put them in the project file. That should go in Git. That's for your shared project level settings for the team. The user TOML, I mean,
you could use
it. You try to put it in in the secure user area, not just in the project folder.
Yeah.
If you are using it to store credentials, but you can get away with that if there's no sensitive data and it's a small project. But it will fall foul of some security teams' standards, and they will want you to get the secrets. They want you to get the passwords from a secure manager, a secure sort of vault.
And that's what you mean with resolvers.
Yeah. So a resolver is, instead of putting the credentials in your configuration file, you put essentially an environment variable, a special type of environment variable called a resolver in there. And you tell it where to look for the credentials. So this could be just your username and password. If you feel like there's sensitive information even in the server name or server part, you put that in there too. And then at runtime, Flyway resolves a resolver and says, okay, I've got to get those credentials from HashiCorp Vault or whatever one you're using, or just a local secret store.
Yeah, well,
the whole list is there of the ones they support.
If I look at my Flyway user TOML, I see this long width, some long key, and I know that it's linked back to the Windows Credential Manager. Yes. So it never stores the password directly in my user TOML file. It always uses the Windows Credential Manager, and that's also the reason that you can't put that in Git, because if you put it in Git and you would open it on another computer, this is another Windows Credential Manager. But is the Windows Credential Manager then also a kind of low-level resolver?
Well, no, I mean, the Windows Credential Manager is just one of the supported stores that you can point to from a resolver. So the resolver just says, okay, in this case, I've saved my password in an environment variable or in an Azure Active Directory or in a Windows credential
Hmm.
store. And you're going to see the Windows credential store exact example a little bit later in the article. So
Okay,
it goes through
interesting.
some of the. So this is what it's a bit fuzzy, but that's what the TOML configuration file entry looks like. And it includes the resolver, and it also tells you actually how to connect to Vault or whatever it is in this case. So you needed a little bit more configuration detail in there as well. So for your production environment in this case, I'm getting my credentials from Vault. This is where Vault is. And then in the first piece of code that you're just off screen at the top, you've used that $ squiggly bracket. That's your resolver pointing to the password in Vault.
Okay, but this is just standard technology built into Flyway.
Built into Flyway. These are Flyway property resolvers.
So we have Phil Factor now writing about something standard. He's not doing
This
it.
is what I said.
What?
I know he's
What's
not doing.
happening?
He's like, we've gone into a parallel universe where Phil goes like, yeah, resolvers are fine. This is how you use them.
Wow.
And he'll be back next week saying, well, this is fine, but I need to do it this way. So
Okay,
he
Phil.
talks about the fact that, okay, if I want a consistent approach to how I do this, right from development to production, you will encounter cases where like the staging environment is a DMZ. You won't have an internet connection. Some of those stores that are supported do require one. So choose an approach that doesn't need it if you want consistency. And what he's showing here is simply a little bit of PowerShell. That's all he's got in this one, really. He has a PowerShell script here that sucks out the URL, password, and username as separate pieces of information and stores them like that in the Windows credentials store. And once you've done that, that's it. You just put.
But Flyway does this for you, right? Normally, if I select by setting up a connection string within Flyway desktop, and that's I think that's the difference. Phil is more a Flyway CLI guy, but within Flyway desktop does it for you.
Do you know what the article should say that, and I forgot. If you're using Flyway desktop, you don't need Phil's scripty thing. He just uses that to like as a convenient way for him to extract, because he and save them in the form he wants within the store. So
But the
a
interesting
URL,
thing is
a
now you
password.
know how it works. So it's still for the Flyway desktop users interesting to see how this works.
Yeah, so it's a fairly straightforward piece of code. And then once you've done that, that's it really. Flyway. So if you put in your Flyway user TOML file now, all you have is a list of resolvers for your URL, your password, and the username, which are all stored in Windows credentials. And at runtime, Flyway will go, okay, I can see that I'll use those resolvers, and I can see I've got to get them from there, and you can connect and run, and that's it.
That's it.
That's resolvers. They're a.
But Phil shows the local resolver, but
He
you can
did.
also use one of them cloud or whatever resolvers. So
Yes, he wants an approach that doesn't require an internet connection. That's all that's just his preference, so he can use the same approach everywhere. But
cool.
Just use whatever works for you.
So we learned today that Phil can also write about something that's just default available in Flyway.
If he thinks it's a useful piece of functionality,
and
I'm not saying he's written about stuff he doesn't. I mean, he's written about good pieces of functionality that he wished
extend. He wished to extend.
was extended a little bit. So he extends it to say like, this is what you should really be doing. But here he had nothing to extend.
We also learned that he just lifted the curtain a bit about how the Flyway desktop team is doing this resolving on the background to your Windows credential manager. So now you know it.
Now you know. He always gives you a little bit of extra insight.
You'll learn it here first on the Tonie and Tonie Show, episode 29.
29, yeah. I think, as long as you get a bit more insight, he's never just going to give you documentation. It's like you'll get insight into how this thing works and a practical example. So,
and that's why other people tune into the show.
Exactly right. Yeah. Exactly right.
But now it's time to tune out because this episode is done. We're finished. We go out because it's it's a good
It's
heat.
sweltering here. It's 32 degrees or something. You're lucky I'm wearing a shirt. I mean, otherwise this could have been.
Yeah, that's the other channel where you flip us. We will put in the description the links.
You're not supposed to mention that other channel.
Okay, Tony, mate. Till the next
Bye-bye.
one.
Bye-bye.